All right, price, where are we at around low 40,000s?
Yeah, so like the first chart you'll see are just some price levels I drew out. So last week we talked about I had started buying around 41K. And the reasoning is just because I saw 40K as just a really clear kind of macro support level. It was a prior higher low that we hadn't retested yet. And so, at a minimum, you should be expecting a bounce off of the first retest of a macro higher low. So did start buying as I talked about last week, got a nice little reaction off of that. And now it appears that we were setting some kind of higher low. Posted this morning or took the screenshot of the chart this morning at like 42,500. From this area that I was looking at for a little bounce or a little micro kind of higher lower here. We have seen a little bounce up to, what are we at now? Like 43 to 200. So I've seen like a nice little $700-800 bounce off that area. So does look like we're setting a little higher low here on kind of microstructure, which is a good sign, of course. I'm still chilling in spot. I think the first area to look at is this prior range low. We call that around like 46K to be specific, like 45.7, and see kind of how derivatives look there. And then from there, if let's say, it looks like, perps perhaps are fading the rally, then, maybe we get a, little move up to prior range highs, but I'm just kind of playing it level to level for now. But yeah, still chilling in my spot buys that we talked about last week. But yeah, this is just what I'm looking at from, purely just a price structure standpoint.
All right, so that makes a lot of sense in terms of where we are right now. One of the things that you've been talking about for a while now that has maybe not concerned, but like is definitely worth paying attention to is this open interest. And in today's newsletter, you call out that it's still high. So explain why this is important for people to understand and what this potentially could mean in terms of volatility in the future.
Yeah, so last week I felt like that might have been the longest that we've ever recorded. We went pretty in depth in terms of describing open interest and funding and some of these, derivatives metrics. But, for anyone maybe who wasn't listening last week, open interest at a high level is just, if you want like a bit more nuanced explanation, feel free to look at last week's video. I just don't want to like reiterate it for people that were listening last week. Open interest is just looking at the amount of open contracts. So there's, always balanced out in terms of how many longs and shorts there are. Open interest just tells you how many of those contracts are open. And so we are still in this kind of area where, previously the last 4 or 5 times that we've been in this upper area, we have seen a flush after that. So it's basically showing you like this is an area where, open interest is building up sufficiently that, you get some kind of wipeout. And that's not necessarily a bullish or bearish thing. As we've seen in May, that was a sign that, longs were really aggressive. We got a wipeout. At the end of summer, though, those aggressive shorts that built up. And so we had a short squeeze. So it's just telling you that the contracts are built up, but it doesn't tell you about the positioning. So we still do have a lot of leverage built up. As you can see in the last like kind of 24 hours, we've actually started to wipe out a little bit of the open interest on this move up. And so perhaps that, is showing you that, shorts are starting to close out on this move up. But yeah, I mean, we're still very high. We still wiped out a minuscule amount of OI compared to what we've built up over the last month. Call it like maybe like a fifth of the OI we've built up over the last month. So yeah, still expecting some volatility in that sense, and some major kind of liquidation event that we've been talking about for a while. But still waiting on it. I keep posting like on my Twitter like when squeeze. That's what I'm referring to. I'm just waiting for this metric to wipe out of this kind of overheated area.